Hey guys, and welcome to Creativity Level Zero. I'm Jim,
I'm Steve.
and thanks for joining us today. So, Steve, I
Yes,
wanted
Jim.
to. So, you recommended to me recently this TV show called The Community. And
Community.
Community, yeah, Community.
Not community.
Oh, it's not The
That,
Community?
yeah, that makes it sound like it's somehow a show about an old folks home.
Is it not? Is that not what goes on in an old folks' home?
Probably about the same thing.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, I think they have Chevy Chase in there, and he's old. So,
That's right. That's
he plays a stereotypical old guy.
old guy.
So, you
White
showed me the
Walker.
first. What's that?
White Walker.
White. That's right. White. Well, and he's got gray hair. White hair. So you showed me the first episode, and I wasn't really into it. And then we watched
That
it.
wasn't the first episode that I showed you. First of all, if any of you
Oh,
guys
that's
watch
right.
Community, I tried to show him what I viewed as the best episode. And in the episode, the entire college campus turns into a paintball, post-apocalyptic world. And it was amazing to watch because everybody dreams that they could just turn their entire campus into a giant paintball match.
Mm-hmm. Shooting
And
teachers and students.
yeah, exactly. And because you could walk around campus and be like, oh, that would be a great place to hide and bunker down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure everyone has thought about this. But yes, what were your thoughts about that episode?
Yeah. So I thought it wasn't a bad episode. I just thought it was a little cliche the way they did it with a lot of stereotypes built. Not stereotypes. A lot of references to movies and stuff in that episode, and it turns
But it's
out.
meant to be like
Right.
that.
It turns out that episode was actually like an aside from the actual show.
Right.
So when we watched a few more episodes, I ended up liking it. And there was this one part I wanted to talk to you about that I'm surprised we never did, which was called the Dreamatorium,
The
where
dream.
that's
I don't
what
remember.
it's the room that Abed makes where he dreams up stuff. He plays in his imagination. And
Okay.
you know, this
I
isn't
feel
like
like I haven't watched this.
this isn't like 30 episodes.
30 episodes?
Yeah, probably about 30 episodes have this in it. It's in all of whatever season I'm in.
I feel like you're ahead of me at this point.
It's
I'm
like season
still only on
2.
season 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's living with Troy, I think.
Yep. Nope.
Oh, by the way, I skipped about 10 episodes in season 1
What?
because I had friends come over and last weekend and they wanted to watch an episode and they said, "Well, we are in season 2." And I said, "Okay, I'm at like episode 3 in season 1." And so they were like, "Well, let's watch season 2 because that's where we are." So I said, "Sure." So we watched some season 2 and then I was like, "Well, I came this far. I can't go back to season 1."
Oh, well, that's cheating. I was like, man, you really love the show that you caught
No,
up like.
not that much.
Okay.
But anyway, it's a room which him and Troy have imagination fights or whatever. It's like, are you sure you haven't seen it?
Definitely not.
You've seen them live together.
No,
Oh, you haven't gotten to when they live together.
not yet.
Okay, well then I'll just tell you about it. It has nothing really to do with the show, but anyway, there's this room in their apartment that they rent that they have, and the walls are painted kind of like just a grid, kind of like graph paper.
Okay.
They paint the walls that way, so it looks kind of like you're going into space with like grid lines.
I was going to say, is it sort of like the X-Men
Yeah, Danger Room, just like
Danger
that.
or something?
Yes.
Yeah. Where they
So they
simulate battles
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Okay.
So they go in and then they have like a simulated whatever. They're like, "Oh, let's go on a spaceship." And then they sit in their chairs and there's nothing around them, but they like pretend and play that they're in the spaceship.
Right.
So, my question to you is, did you ever do that when you were a kid?
I thought you were about to ask me, do you want to play Spaceship?
Do you?
And although the idea of playing Spaceship sounds amazing,
Yeah.
I feel like I can't get into that young kid's creative mindset anymore.
No.
Where you can just completely be in an imaginative world.
You
And
totally could.
no,
You could. First off, you need an accent. That's gonna sell it for your brain, right? Beam me up, Scotty, or whatever. Like when we played that game and we were doing accents,
That's right.
we were immersed in it, and then you just have to go with what you know. Photon torpedoes or whatever they do.
Right.
I think we could do it.
Maybe. But yeah, when I was a kid, we did have make-believe things, but I never make-believed a spaceship. A lot of my neighbor, for some reason, wanted to grow up and be a bus driver. He's currently not a bus driver. He sells cars at a dealership.
That's close.
But every day I would want to go and play with my neighbor. He would want to play bus driver. And all you do is you ride your bike, you stop it every corner of the street, and you pretend to open the door and bring kids onto the back of your bike.
This is what you did for fun?
Yes.
You worked as a bus driver.
Well, I never wanted to play the game. It was because that's what I thought. I was like, who to play bus driver?
So you biked with him.
Yes, I would bike behind
him.
Yes.
And he'd let kids on his imaginary bus, and what would you do?
I guess I would also let kids into my imaginary bus.
Wow. I thought you were going to say...
I think I went a few blocks and I was like, this is stupid. Let's
Yeah.
turn around and play something else.
I mean,
Let's take out our Power Ranger action figures.
Mm-hmm. I've seen kids on bikes play some sort of a spaceship game where they chase each other or whatever. But so I wanted to ask, I wanted to ask if you ever played in big boxes, because that's what I did when I was a kid.
No.
My sister and I would. You were too what?
I was too poor.
No, like a big box, like a moving box.
No, I know.
Oh, okay.
No, we just never really had big boxes around, so I never really played with it. I might have played with one once in my lifetime, where I drew inside and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, our parents would be like, you know what? Instead of getting you that Power Ranger, we got you a box. And this box can be anything you want. And my sister and I used to
prefer the box over a bag of coal.
Yes. Yes. The box was actually really fun because when we were kids, there was this show, Something Cats, a fighter plane show with cats.
Was it like the Ninja Cats or whatever?
They looked like ninjas. I have to search it now that we're talking about it.
I forget.
I
forget what they're called.
Kids.
Samurai Cats.
TV show. Cats Planes.
Cats and Planes.
SWAT Cats. SWAT Cats.
Yeah, SWAT Cats.
Yes, they look like ninjas. Okay.
Yes.
Wow, they had 2 seasons. Okay. Anyway. SWAT Cats. Yeah, SWAT Cats looked awesome. And they always had the main awesome guy and then the buddy in the back. And my sister was always the buddy. And I was the main awesome guy. But the problem was the back guy was the one who shot the missiles.
Right.
And the front guy was the guy who flew. And I wanted to do both. So
what did you make your sister do that?
She was backup missiles.
Backup missiles?
If we ran out of main missiles, she was backup missiles.
Did you ever run out of main missiles?
I don't remember. But I do remember a lot of flying, and I remember we would watch the show in the box. In the plane box.
That's fun.
It was so fun, yeah. And looking back on it, I'm kind of like, what happened to us? We used to be fun people.
Reality starts to set in more and more, and you realize, this is just a box.
Oh. I think next time we hang out, or next time we play one of those, what was that game we played? Time Stories.
Time Stories.
You have to get the next Time Stories, by the way.
I do.
It's your turn. Yeah, so now it's on the podcast. Everybody heard it. It's your turn.
Oh, no. My turn. Next Time Story.
Next time we do it, we should make a mandatory rule that we have to play in character in accent. Because
That's fun.
you
But
and me
like,
were doing a good job.
would totally do that. But the other people we play with, I don't know if
They're gonna do it because they're gonna love it. But it is fun. I forget. Who was I?
You were a French guy.
I was French guy, and you were Irish guy.
I was an Irish guy. Yeah.
And it was fun to just be them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a Scots. I was a Scotsman.
Yeah, you kind of just flippy flopped between a few different European nations.
I don't know how to do the accent very well.
Yeah, same.
It's gonna be a mix of English, Scottish, and Irish all together. It's a UK accent.
Oh. That's actually really interesting because when we went to school and we learned about other countries, they never really walked us through the UK and the different pieces of it. Because,
That's true.
like, if you were to ask me when I was younger, I would have just said, oh, that's like the UK. But people who live there, they definitely don't say that. They disseminate from, they differentiate where they're from. I'm from Wales, I'm from wherever, and I feel like we didn't even learn that, which is weird.
No. Well, judging it funny enough, because since I come from Canada, I knew a decent amount still about the United States. But when I came to the United States, they didn't know anything about Canada.
No, I didn't even learn anything about Canada.
It's just so interesting that like the culture in America is so strong that other countries want to learn about it, but America is just pure America. Doesn't care about anybody else, so doesn't learn about anybody else.
So I had this interesting thought, and this is just like one of those things when like you're in the shower and you're thinking about stuff, which I will say that's one of my best times of thinking, including sleeping. I do a lot of good thoughts when I wake up from sleep too.
Wake up?
Yeah, I'll wake up.
Sleep is when I have my good thoughts, and in the shower too.
Okay. I told you one time I solved a pooping counts too. Yeah. I think I told you one time like I woke up and I solved a computer programming problem in college.
Right.
Like that's like right. How my brain works. And so I got to thinking, right? Before the internet. So we're talking after written languages, but before internet. Okay?
Okay.
In that time period, people who could write were first off very rare, and then slowly became more. And then people who could read also slowly became more. Right. But for a long time, there was like a lot of history, I'm going to use like air quotes here, history, that was being written by such a small group of people. And so like, just forget about any part of the world. Just think about nowadays. If you just selected a tiny group of people, any group in the States here, and you ask them to write about any topic, it's going to be so biased and so lacking of facts because they're going to just be like, well, this is all I know and all I see.
Well, yes and no. I mean, granted, in those days, that is how things were, right? Because they didn't have so much knowledge.
Sure.
That they're developing the knowledge as they're going.
Right.
That, it's just like, of course, there's this crazy phenomenon. I'm going to say it's, Zeus, the thunder god.
Sure.
Shooting lightning down, and then afterwards you figure out what the actual scientific principles are. But throughout history, the people who knew how to read and write and wrote down stuff were technically the professionals.
Oh yeah, that was their job.
The scholars of those times. That was their job.
But those people were so small, is what I'm saying. The amount of them. So
but that was like their job.
Yeah.
But just to gain knowledge and learn new things.
Right. The point I was kind of going towards was, regardless of how smart they were, there's so few of them, and so what they wrote was so narrow. Because there just weren't enough of them to see everything and to know everything that was going on.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point of why we still do archaeological stuff.
Oh, yeah. Right? To find out what actually happened.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can only take people's words at that time, to such a degree.
Right.
A human life can only see and do so much.
Right. But then, so taking it even a step further, so you have such a small amount of people. writing about the history of the world or what's going on. And then when you're on the losing side, we're going to burn all of your paper because you guys lost, so I don't really care what you wrote.
That's right.
And it
One of the
wasn't
great,
until
great tragedies of human history.
yeah, and it wasn't until like I don't know. I know like when Alexander the Great was doing, and I know nothing about history, so don't want to go too far down this hole. But I know during that time he was one of the first to be like, we're gonna kill all the people here, and then we're gonna conquer them, and then we're gonna collect their documents in a library, and like
Yeah. And then I think that library got burnt.
But anyway, so my point was, so here's the shower thought.
The Library of Alexandria.
Alexandria, yeah.
Yeah, I think it got burnt once it got taken over by conquerors.
Oh my god. I think the barbarians probably did that with Rome too when they came through and killed Rome, the whole Roman Empire. They probably burned a lot of stuff too. But
Yeah, I guess I don't know.
anyway,
I haven't heard anything about barbarians burning books.
well, like well, yeah, how would you know? There's no books
Yeah, I
about
guess
it.
so.
Well, so that's where I was kind of going. So like shower thoughts here is kind of like, how much do we really know about our past between that time? Because it was written by such a small amount of people. It was only seen by a certain amount of people. It has to be translated by people to our words. It was destroyed in a lot of it. Some of it could still be uncovered. And then it was also biased when they wrote it because, you know, if I'm writing something for a king and he's going to kill me if it doesn't sound right, I'm going to make him sound awesome. You know?
Yeah. So the interesting thing, and like I said before, we don't just take what we have from the past and say that's it. This is the law of the land.
Yeah.
They're still doing archaeological digs, and still doing research on archaeological findings. And so they don't just take it from one source. They'll take it from like a bunch of different sources and make sure that they all have the same story, telling the same story. So it'll be
that's a good
like,
idea.
yeah. So for instance, ancient Rome or something like that, their empire spread from, the UK all the way down to Africa into Asia,
Right.
all of Europe pretty much. And, but so when there's like a specific time period that you're looking at, you would look at books or paintings or art or, archaeological, architecture and stuff like that from all these different parts of the empire and see if they tell the same story.
That's cool. That's one way
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, so they don't just take what's written by people because, yes, they already know that this person has ulterior motives. Because I've taken some more history stuff, and it's funny because they'll say, oh, the only good accounting we have of this battle is from, this general's personal,
scribe. His personal scribe.
Yeah. And so he made it sound fantastic, but then he lost the battle and he lost the majority of his men. So when we see the accounts of like the peasants who also maybe wrote about it, or the generals on the opposite side, they wrote about it, like, something doesn't add up.
Yeah, and you're like, something's wrong here. So I brought that up because I'm laying the groundwork for the real question for you. The real question. So now you got that stewing in there, right?
Sure.
All right. Now fast forward to now. All right. Now, with the internet, anybody could say anything. So you went from barely anybody could say anything to now everybody can say everything.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that affects, and how do you think that affects us, like individuals growing up, on understanding like the truth of something simple like the history of our country.
So it's funny because we're doing this podcast because everybody has a voice on the internet these days.
Well,
so luckily you guys get to hear our voices because the internet just, gives us this magical power.
As they say in a famous book, all voices are equal, but some voices are more equal than others. And I think ours is more equal than others.
What that means
That was from Animal Farm.
Oh, is it
Orson
from Animal
Welles. He said that
Farm?
he says all animals are equal, and that was the idea behind like they're gonna have a new farm with all the animals. They're all equal, and then
Right, right.
the pigs are like, well, some are more equal than others.
That's right. That's right. It was
Right.
supposed to be communism, and
That's right.
then dictatorship
Right.
popped
Right.
up.
True.
um. So yeah. So I am kind of. It's funny because I'm kind of a hypocrite for this because I'm using the internet. I get to say whatever I want to say, but I feel like because everybody has a voice these days that they you're giving people who have no no knowledge of what they're speaking the same power as somebody who's been studying it their whole life.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
And that's the sad part. The thing is, most people should realize, oh, this person who studied it their whole life, they should they should be more of the expert than this person, you know. But no, people love
Mm-hmm.
conspiracy theories.
Oh, they love them. So you bring up an
So it's
interesting.
all a deep state where all these people over here are, all in it to profit off of all the little guys or something. I don't
Mhm.
know.
So you bring up a good point, and I think this is something that I kind of wish society would adjust to. We don't credential people who are talking. We don't vet them, right?
That's right.
When I could say like, I'd guess probably like 50 to 100 years ago, maybe even just 50 years ago, there were just less people doing things that required specialties. So, for example, there probably wouldn't have been as many doctors, or there wouldn't have been as many, whatever, like physicists, because these are all like new and upcoming, radiology stuff for like cancer therapy, right? So you wouldn't question those people because you'd be like, oh, there's only a few of them, and here's one of them, right?
Right.
But now, because everybody's getting degrees and everybody, like you said, is kind of having a voice, and the platforms that people speak on are generally accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
you look at the message before you look at the person. And
That's right.
you're kind of like, do I agree with what they said? I do agree. Oh, that's a good person. Rather than like, who are they and what did they.
Yeah, exactly. Who are they saying coming up with all of this
Hmm.
stuff?
But
Yeah.
then now we're going to go a second level of inception here.
Oh no.
Okay. First level is like you're judging them like, okay, who is this person? Should I be listening to them? But now we could second level inception. Who are you to judge those people on their credentials?
That's
Right?
true.
Like you may be like, well, that person says they're still in college. What would they know? Because I
Right.
graduated college, right? So how
I
can
mean, it's the thing. Let's just we can just like whitewash this
Okay.
in terms of whatever information you find or read online. Check multiple sources, reliable sources,
That's right. Hmm.
and see if they're speaking the truth. Because anybody can just make a YouTube video or a podcast
Hmm.
and
And say whatever they want.
say whatever they want with no facts to back it up,
Hmm.
and just make it sound convincing.
Oh
You
yeah.
know.
And I and
Yes.
I and I think you and I had uh, a little conversation about this when you were over. I don't want to go into the deeps of the topic, but
Sure.
we essentially found some information online from a source that
Oh, that's right.
we
That's
were
right.
we were somewhat questioning. Like we read the information, we're like, that seems a little weird, and then we
Yeah.
looked and we found other news articles, and we were like, oh well, if multiple sources agreed, but then wait a minute, the news articles just copy pasted from the faulty source. So it
Yes.
was this. So we found multiple sources, but they were all really just one source.
That's
And
right.
in
That's
school,
right.
we learned about like a primary source
Yeah.
versus secondary sources.
Source. That's right. Primary source is straight from the mouth,
Hmm.
and secondary source is somebody citing.
That's right.
something.
That's right.
That's right. I'm paraphrasing.
That's right. All right. So I wanted to change gears here.
Okay.
I wanted to spend the rest of this time talking about something more fun. Um, I was thinking about this. I think it's more relatable. Is um, I want to talk about actors or actresses. We're going shifting to movies.
Wow. This is like a complete 180
Hey,
degree
would it
from
be
like conspiracy theories and internet like rights to actors in movies.
would it be an hour with me if we didn't do that once?
I guess that's true. I just feel bad for our listeners who are like in one train of thought, who they were ready for like a deep conversation. Like, you know what? Movies.
We could have gone down that deep conversation around that, but I would like to save that for another time. I think that we can get into more detail in the next few months when the election's coming up. There'll be a
Oh
lot of,
no.
there'll be a lot of like conversations around that. Eventually we'll have to have one episode where we mention a little bit of that.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, like I don't want to get too deep into that.
Definitely. All right. Switching
All right,
gears.
so we're in movies here. Um, so recently, I saw that movie on Netflix, um, Eurovision.
Right. I watched it recently too.
Did you like it?
I surprisingly loved it.
Okay,
So
I knew you'd love it because you love Will
I
Ferrell.
went into, yeah, I do like Will Ferrell, but um,
Did you like
I
the?
went into it with such low expectations because I was
Wait,
like,
hold on. Low expectations.
oh,
After I said to you, you're gonna love this movie. I said
yeah,
that was my recommendation, and you're like, Jim, your recommendation? Right in the toilet.
okay. I get that your recommendation that you gave like a good recommendation for me,
Mhm.
but I watched the trailer
Yeah.
and your recommendation was there's awesome music
It was
in it.
awesome. Wasn't the music
There
awesome?
is awesome music in it,
And the
guys. There is.
hamster wheel?
But
Was that not
in,
awesome?
hold on. In the trailer, the only song they sing
Ho,
is a
ho,
Volcano
ho.
Man.
Volcano Man. That's a funny song.
It's a funny song, but I was like, if the whole movie is gonna
Oh,
just be
no.
these ridiculous songs,
No.
it's gonna be bad. So I
No.
went into it with terribly low
Oh.
expectations. But
Okay. Now I
yeah,
understand. Yeah,
yeah,
so I feel like I know you well enough that 8 out of 10 times I could give you a solid recommendation.
right.
There'll be a few that, I actually hate Will Ferrell. I think he's a terrible actor.
I
But
feel like he's one of
you
those
love him or you
actors.
hate him.
You love him or you hate him, because I tried to get somebody else, one of my coworkers, to watch, and she gave it 10 minutes because
Because of his
because
acting.
she just couldn't deal with his acting. Yeah,
So I actually think him, Adam Sandler is very similar. Even people, I'll be honest, even people like Ben Stiller who aren't super funny, they are
yeah,
very. They have a certain way of acting, and Nicolas Cage is a good example too. Actually,
right.
all of them are kind of the same guy in every movie. You know,
That's-
and if you don't like that guy,
yeah,
yeah, Keanu Reeves. Actually, now that you mentioned it, even Tom Cruise. He's Mission Impossible in every movie he's in. I don't know
that's right.
why, but he's always in whatever movie he's immediately like, we got to get out of here, and he's sprinting, and you're like, where's this guy going? Where's this guy going? So anyway, in that well, that was a good movie. Oh, by the way, since you didn't watch Legion, the guy who plays the Russian is David from Legion, the
Oh,
Russian
really?
singer, and
Okay.
he's a funny
Yeah,
actor, right?
he's good.
So
He's
he's
good.
incredibly talented, and I started following him on Instagram because when I saw him in Legion, I was like, this guy's an amazing actor. Like I was just captivated by how he was acting.
Right.
Most actors, I don't feel like the role requires a lot of acting. I know this sounds really shallow and like maybe being a little mean to actors and actresses, but I feel like most roles now, a bunch of different people could fill that, and you don't have to try that hard to be that character. I also don't watch dramas, so take that for what it is. So most of the things I watch have no emotion.
To cry, Jim.
Yeah. But in Legion, he was just such a good actor. I was like, who is this guy? And then he was in he was in Eurovision. So
Right.
what I wanted to ask you
Okay.
about this, and this is why I was shifting to movies, was um, I wanted to hear about a time when you watch or saw something and you enjoyed it because of the performance of a specific person. And not only was that person good enough to make you enjoy the movie, but you said, I'll watch another movie just because that person's in it, regardless of if that movie's going to be good.
That's tough.
It's
'Cause
rare. I know it's rare for us. It's rare for us.
I mean, there's just the obvious ones that come to mind. But this is like since I was a
But
child.
I
You
want a movie that you watched and you were like, I enjoyed this movie because this actor or actress made it a good movie. The movie may or may not have been good, but they are the reason I watch it.
I want to say every movie with Robin Williams in it.
Okay, he's pretty good at
Yeah,
acting.
yeah. You know,
Like Flubber and stuff were probably not the
well, not
best
just
movies.
Flubber, but like even the like heartfelt ones, like Bicentennial Man and Patch Adams. You haven't watched any of these.
I watched Jumanji and I watched Flubber.
Do watch it, Flubber. Man, you haven't even scratched the surface of Robin Williams. You
I didn't
know.
even watch Hook.
You didn't watch Hook?
No,
Great movie. Great movie.
I could
I
barely get through Peter Pan. I'm not gonna get there.
But yeah, I've always been such a big Robin Williams fan. Um, and there's a lot of movies where you could say the whole reason this movie was good was because of Robin Williams.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's like because I just said, like Hook and Bicentennial Man.
So
And
you watched them. So those so those are when you were younger. So
yes,
are there any other?
Williams is dead now.
I know,
Sad thing.
unfortunately. Um, but like, are there any maybe in the last 15 years that you've seen that
Yeah, see, that's what I was when you were saying that. I was like, oh, recently. I don't know if I've
it could be
if
even
I
college? Because like when you're younger, I feel like you also get shaped a little bit more than when you're older. You're like really thinking through it.
right, right. Um,
Like I'll give you an example.
go
I
ahead.
used to hate Jim Carrey when
Okay.
he was in like Ace Ventura and The Mask.
You didn't like those?
I never liked those movies. I didn't even like Liar Liar, which was a pretty popular movie. It wasn't until I saw The Truman Show when he actually
Ah, it's
acted.
a great one.
When he
Yeah,
actually acted, I was like, I like him when he's acting, and like I got respect for him. And now I'll watch movies like we watched Sonic because he was in it,
that's
and
right. Right.
Sonic was good because he was in it.
Yeah.
Actually, Cyclops was pretty good in that movie too. I don't know what that actor's name is. The
Which one?
Cyclops, the guy who plays the guy who finds Sonic. He's
His name is
Cyclops
Psycho.
from no, so Cyclops from X-Men
Oh
is
yeah,
that
same
actor.
guy.
But he
Yeah.
got
Okay.
shafted in X-Men. Like he was in X-Men and the director was like, I don't really like this actor. So they made him like a crappy Cyclops.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be like the main character, maybe second most popular X-Man besides Wolverine is
That's
Cyclops.
right. That's right.
Maybe if I'm guessing.
Maybe Phoenix.
If no, most people don't know who Phoenix is.
Oh, okay.
I think like if you were to ask people, Wolverine is number one. Maybe Storm, maybe Cyclops. You know, most people know those characters. Put him in the X-Men movie. Cyclops is like a loser. Like what's he doing? What?
Yeah. That's right. No, it's funny. I am not a big person on following actors or even knowing
Same.
actors'
Yeah.
names. Um, and movies these days, they're pulling actors from all over the place. And so that should give you more of an incentive to be like, I like this actor. I'm going to keep watching
Hmm.
movies with this actor in it. Um,
Do you think?
but but yeah, no, I don't really see. For me, usually it's like comedies, like Ben Stiller,
Yeah, he's in a lot of the
anything he was
comedies.
in. Yeah.
Well, do you think we're gonna have like a Hollywood movie drought when like the Matthew McConaughey's retire and the Tom Cruises?
No, I think there's always going to be, new actors that pop up. Like now, you know, Tom Holland is a big name. The
Yeah.
Spider-Man dude. I feel like he's going to start playing in a whole bunch of
Oh
movies
yeah.
because he's a
He
good actor.
he reminds me of what's that actor called? Very inconspicuous actor. Um, he
Inconspicuous.
yeah, he's a very like so when I think of like chick flicks, I think of like the Matthew McConaughey's and the Ryan Goslings and
I was
stuff.
going to say Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's another guy who's like somewhat attractive as a guy, but he's much more low key. He was in that Snowden movie. He was in the Snowden movie.
I haven't watched the Snowden movie.
Let me look him up now. Let's see. Let's see. His name is
Oh, you know what?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, Jason Gordon-Levitt. He's been around forever.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying they're gonna phase out, but I'm saying when you were mentioning Tom Holland, I'm thinking like maybe he's in that realm of Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like maybe a Ryan Gosling. I don't know if he's attractive enough, but like you can fill those roles, right?
Right.
But they're still gonna need like people to fill like the Rock roles, Jason Statham.
I was gonna say The Rock is another one that a lot of movies are good because The Rock's in it.
Like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold. Like to put things into perspective of why I'm asking this question. I saw the newest Terminator movie, which I couldn't believe it was good because it was good. Like the first two Terminators were amazing, and then they made like one or two more that I watched, and I really, being a sci-fi guy, I couldn't even follow them really. And the newest one, they were like, we're gonna do the X-Men treatment. We're gonna go back in time, fix all the plot holes, and start new. And I was like, perfect. Now at least all those plot holes that you messed up on are now fixed, right?
Right.
That movie still had Arnold in it, and Arnold is like 70. Right?
Yeah, but Arnold is Arnold.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like you're gonna need people like Arnold, like Sylvester Stallone, like The Rock. Like you need awesome, like action, gun 'em down guys.
Yeah, but like The Rock is new. He's new to the scene.
True.
To the movie scene.
I mean, he was in the Scorpion King. That was back that was high school. Pre-high
yeah,
school?
but he didn't say a single word in the Scorpion King movie.
True.
Maybe just yelled.
But I think he was like one of the highest paid actors at the time for one of those movies, Scorpion King. Maybe highest paid wrestler actor.
Well, there's not too many wrestler actors to begin with. Maybe John Cena,
Yeah, let me see.
Steve
Here
Austin.
it is. I just Googled it. Yeah, it said
now for sure.
The Rock made Hollywood history in 2002. He was paid $5.5 million for his leading role in The Scorpion King, putting him in the Guinness World Record for the highest salary for a first-time leading man. So in his first movie, where he's the leading actor, he made the most money.
Is he even the leading actor in that movie?
Scorpion King?
Oh, The Scorpion King. Oh,
it's
okay.
It's his own movie. You're thinking of The Mummy 2.
Yeah, I was thinking The Mummy 2.
Which has
The Rock as the Scorpion guy.
And since we're talking about The Mummy, I will say 1 and 2, and even The Scorpion King are pretty decent. In The Mummy 3, they switched out the actors, and they tried to act like they didn't. They literally had the main guy turn to a girl and say, "What do you think, wife?" or whatever her name was, and I'm like, that's not her. And then they just pretended she was like this actress was the different person. The same thing they did with Iron Man. They took War Machine, the actor, and they were just like, we're going to swap him out with another dude and nobody will notice. It's like, I noticed.
Yeah.
You can't just do that and call them the same name.
That's right.
They're literally different people, too. They played, yeah. So yeah, so I think we're gonna need some new actors to fill those gaps. And
Yeah, but I mean, like, I think there'll always be new actors on the rise, just constantly. That'll just always fill those roles.
but that's why I'm bringing it up though. These guys are old. Like Tom Cruise is old and he's still starring in movies. Like if they're not getting a new name in, it might be because they have a drought of names.
No, maybe it's just the opposite. Maybe there's just so many people going into acting. Just so many people can pay for, acting classes that maybe it's saturated right now, the market.
So why wouldn't they pick someone else?
What do you mean?
Like if they had a
Because
lot, if they
big name actors charge more. And so
uh,
if you can get
to
somebody,
get more people into the movie, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean just to make the movie cost less,
No,
you
movies
would.
cost more with the big name actors.
That's what I'm saying. So if you choose somebody who's not as big,
Right. You could you could make it cheaper.
you can make it cheaper. And so that's what I mean by I don't I don't I don't think it matters to have any more of these like big name actors
But
as
dude, think
as like
about the movies we
action
saw.
hero.
Think of the movies we just saw.
Uh-huh.
We saw Sonic recently. Jim Carrey was
Right.
in it. Big name. We saw The Meg recently. Jason Statham was in that. Big name.
That's right.
We saw what else did we see? I don't even remember what movies we saw recently. Those ones
We
I
saw
just saw.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. It's Jason Statham and The Rock. Big names.
Right.
Like, have we seen movies without big names? Like, like if you think about it, or maybe those movies are made and we just don't see them because they're not like visible. They don't market them or whatever.
Well, yeah, there's that, but there's definitely movies we've seen that don't have big names. But a lot of times,
You know
I think
what?
we just budget to just have like one big name person.
To get as the base.
Yeah.
You know what? I think you're actually right because now that I'm thinking about it, there are big name actors that weren't big names. So
Right.
when we saw Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot
Yeah.
was a good example where I saw her in one other movie where she was like a neighbor spy or something.
Okay.
But that's the only other movie I even saw with her in it. And then we saw
I've
one
never seen a movie with her in it.
right, and then we saw Wonder Woman, and now she's a big name. So now but she wasn't before. So maybe you're right. Maybe there are more in up and coming. We just missed that up and coming part where like they were nobodies and now they're famous.
That's right.
Yeah, like Jason.
Totally go see any movie Gal Gadot's in.
Yeah, she is a great actress.
Yes. But yeah, that that's just the natural role of actors where they
Right.
just start off as nobodies. They have their one big break. They
Mhm.
become famous from it, and then they start becoming they start getting recruited for other main roles in other movies, and that's it. And then they become a big name.
That's right. You
But
know
like I
what?
was saying before, all those people that I was saying, The Rock, Jason Statham,
They were nobodies and then
they
they
were
became.
nobodies. They were wrestlers back in the day. They were nobodies, and then they just had roles, and
You are
they're
right.
not that old now.
Because even Henry Cavill, now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't know about him until Man of Steel came out. And then
He's in a lot, right?
well, he's been in Man of Steel. And then I
Right.
saw him in like a spy movie. I saw him in The Witcher. But you're right. Like back then, I didn't know who he was. And now, if you said his name, I'd be like, oh, he's a good actor.
Yeah.
So the follow-up question to this
Okay.
is, do you think we would be good actors based on our acting experience?
So, based on your acting experience, no.
And
You
my,
would be a horrible
and our we've been training for years.
No, you'd be horrible, Tim. I'm sorry. I would be a great actor, and this has been reinforced constantly because back in high school, Jim and I we made a movie in French, and in the credits it actually had some superlatives, like best and worst actor. Who won best actor? I did. Because I was used and abused.
I would say,
Sold it. And I sold it.
so you're a physical
and
actor.
Who got worst actor? Jim. Jim got worst actor. You know why? Because he couldn't stop smiling in the scenes.
I was
And
supposed to be a killer.
Always act artificial. I think, in this setting, you're comfortable.
I need to be
And you just
improv.
get to act like yourself.
Mhm.
But when you're forced into a role and you're forced
I'm in the
into
box.
lines, you're like in a box and you're robotic.
That's right.
Just reading stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you gotta hit the nail on the head. You live your life as if you're acting a character. And so when I say, Steve, let's act it out, you're like, boom, I'm live. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I'm more of like the guy who's doing improv, where I'm funny if I'm allowed to be myself on the spot, but as soon as you give me direction, I'm like, all of a sudden, I can't do that. That's like in the box.
You like can't put your mind around how
Right.
you can't imagine yourself saying these words.
Exactly. I need like a vision. I need a vision director. A director comes in, he's like, look, Jim, something was bothering you. You come in here and you yell at Steve and you get some water in your head and you leave in. And I'm like, okay, I could do that. And every time you do a take, it's a different thing. Like you're just, right? Whereas you're more of like a method actor. Well, they'll be like, Steve, in this situation, Jim's going to come in and yell at you. You got to say these things and give an emotion. And you do it, and then he's like, more emotion. And you do it again, but now with more emotion.
I just remember one of the funniest acting moments for myself, which we had to act in front of English class in high school again.
English class.
English class.
I was not. Was I in your English class?
And I was a police officer. And I had a donut in one hand and like a baton in the other. I was yelling at the person, because they were like committing a crime or something. And my donut just like flopped. It just broke in half.
Wait, this is a real donut?
It was a real donut that we brought in. And it just broke in half in the middle of our while we were doing it, and I made it seem so seamless that it was part of it, because the guy who committed a crime just looked at the donut, and I looked at the donut, then I looked at the guy, and then I looked back at the donut,
and you're like, what?
Stared the guy in the eyes, and just slowly started to eat the donut, like it's an intimidation thing, and that was completely off the cuff. And everyone in the class just burst out laughing.
Do you think that you could act without cracking up though? Because I feel like I crack up.
You do.
I cannot hold it in.
I laugh constantly.
You do.
For every. But if I'm acting in a role,
so weird.
I don't laugh. It's interesting. I have to, but.
Dude, oh my goodness.
All I play requires me to laugh a lot.
You are reminding me of the funniest thing I could remember from high school.
Oh, wow. The funniest thing.
This is hands down the funniest thing in all of high school. This was when we had to do our French play in front of the class, and I brought in milk.
Oh my God.
I brought in milk.
Exactly. This
is the funniest thing ever. I brought in. What's that?
Who made it funny?
You made it funny in the acting.
Yes.
But I made it funny because I envisioned it. I created it, and you acted it.
Okay.
And I told you you're going to go into the supermarket and shop, and you were going to steal stuff.
That's right.
And shove it in your shirt or whatever. And I think we had a police officer, maybe Gutentag was the guy or whatever, who was going to be like questioning you. And I forget what my role was, but whatever. And you didn't know this at the time, but I stocked the room with the props. And I didn't tell you. I just told you, go pick up this, go pick up that. There'll probably be something in the cabinet, whatever. So I put milk in the cabinet. Right. Oh, and I told you, just drink whatever's in there.
Yeah.
And I put milk in the cabinet, and I put in green food coloring.
And Doritos, didn't you?
And Doritos and brownie bites. And I crumbled it in there, and I put it in there. And nobody, including the teacher, knew it was in there. So you went to open the cabinet, and you drank it. And I got to tell you, that was nasty. And you knew it was nasty?
I remember that scene exactly. I saw it, and I was surprised that there was milk. I picked it up, and I opened it and sniffed it. And I made a face. I was like, oh, oh. And then I still drank it with like a face of disgust.
And you didn't know I put the chunks in there.
That's right.
So you were chewing it as the milk. Oh, that was so nasty. And I remember you were so surprised that you slammed it back into the cabinet. And after the episode, you told me, you're like, Jim, there's some spilt nasty milk in there with brownies and Doritos. And I said, just leave it.
You didn't even say the rest of that.
Oh, when you had to go to the bathroom.
So the whole point of the play was I was supposed to steal some stuff. I was supposed to eat something nasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Jim didn't tell me what was going to be nasty or whatever. But I knew something nasty was going to come. And then I was supposed to need to go to the bathroom.
That's right.
And everyone else was supposed to continue having their normal French conversation, while I'm in the bathroom. Yes. And then the scene ends, and right at the end, I'm running through the class, asking them, like, wait for me,
oh, that's
with
right.
my pants around my ankles. And I was in my underwear.
No, you were in your soccer shorts.
Soccer shorts. That's right. Yeah, soccer shorts. But I was pretending to be my underwear.
That's right.
Because I had my jeans around my ankles.
Right.
Still. I just wore my shorts underneath. And, asking to, like, chase you guys out.
You're like, wait for me.
I'm holding, like, toilet paper and running.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Good. You had the toilet paper, too. Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. Maybe my place is more in the director vision portion. And yours is more in the acting portion. Because I do remember all of the times we've acted together in that class in particular. That was not my finest moments. Whether it was reciting the lines or just trying to be normal.
Oh, one of the best. I wish we could just play the whole French movie we made on this podcast. But there was a certain scene that Jim just couldn't recite the lines.
It was long. It was long.
It was okay. It was long. It was like a 2-minute monologue that he had to give in French, and he just couldn't memorize it, and he couldn't do it, and he just gave up. He was practicing for weeks, and he still couldn't get it.
I was like, I can't do it. Take it out.
So instead, how we had to do it was Jim had to be in the scene and lip sync the words.
That's right.
And I'm off camera just reading his script, so you could tell there's a difference in voice all of a sudden in the movie.
Oh, that was a great movie.
But at the same time, I like added some things in.
Oh, that's right. And I was like, what?
He was talking himself up like he was like a big man.
Yeah.
And I said BS just out loud. And then like, what?
I think that movie will probably not age that well. But yes, I think we are funny together when it comes to videography.
That's right.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have to do another movie in the future.
Maybe that's what spawned this podcast.
That could be it.
That's right.
I mean, podcast is kind of like a movie, except we're not acting. Or are
Maybe
we?
you're.
Or is this
This is how I am all the time,
is
guys.
this Jaime, not Jim?
That's right, Jaime.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so also we have some friends that are big into movies. One of our friends actually recently sent us a video in a group text. I think he was dressed up as something or other, but he seems to be like one who would love to act. And
Right.
then we have another friend who I think is even in the industry of film and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah. And I feel bad because I feel like that's the kind of thing that everybody wants to do, but
Be an
unfortunately,
actor.
yeah, or at least express yourself in media, whether
Right.
it's whether it's behind the camera, whether it's the sound person, the editor, the director, the actor themselves, supporting cast. Um, but I do think there is some raw talent that's required for some of that, and some people
Yeah.
have it, some people don't.
Jim, unfortunately, does not have
I
it.
don't have it. This face is too beautiful for the big screen. So
Oh, that's why.
that's right. Us pretty face people, we stick to YouTube.
It's okay. I'll have the ugly face. I'll go on the big screen. I'll be famous. It's fine.
Speaking of ugly faces, it reminded me of that actor.
Go.
Yeah, it reminded me of that actor from what's his name? Jonah Hill?
Jonah Hill. Okay, he's not
Where
ugly.
agree to disagree. I would definitely put him in the bottom tier. If we were somehow ranking actors' attractiveness, whatever the lowest tier is, he's right there.
So I actually watched something from him like about him recently.
Hmm.
How, like, in the movie industry, he used to get bullied a lot because of his
Really?
appearance. Yeah, and it was what's that guy's name? Is it Channing Tatum?
Yeah. Yeah,
He
they
was
were in
who's
21 Jump Street together.
Yeah, and Emma Stone.
Yeah. Emma Stone's in
Yeah,
in that.
supposedly, like, he's really good friends with them, and they, like, really helped him, like, through his,
Oh,
like, image problems for himself. And he's like, I think, like, Channing Tatum just said, it's like, well, if you want to, like, look better, then you need to work out. And now he's lost, like, a ton of weight.
wow.
So
So I
they
think that's kind of a tough position to be in too, because and I hate to say it this way, but some roles require certain types of people. Like
right,
if you're gonna be in a movie and you're a stripper, you have to kind of look like one, and right, just right. But at the same time, like if you want to be in a movie and you want to have someone feel bad for you, you can't look good. And
right.
that's actually why I didn't like the second Jumanji movie, is because The Rock was trying to act as uh, an old person, I think, and
Yeah,
he just doesn't act
it
like
didn't
one.
work.
It didn't work at all, and it was just like, this is awkward, and I wish you had a different actor here because it just doesn't work.
Yeah,
And so like Jonah Hill, I feel like some roles his appearance fits the role. Like in that movie we saw where he's in high school and he's kind of
super bad.
super bad. He's kind of like a little bit of a loser, right? Like you want to feel bad for that character, so you want the character to look disheveled, possibly
Right.
overweight, possibly nerdy, right? Like
Yeah.
McFly or whatever his name was, Superfly or McLovin.
Lovin. Yeah.
McLovin looks like a straight up nerd,
Yeah.
right? And they cast like that, so you get that feeling. But at the flip side, if you change your appearance, I think if you're a good actor, you just get different roles.
Right.
You just got to
No,
be.
he's been in different roles. He was in Wolf of Wall Street, right?
Yes, but that he was also a character who you felt bad for in Wolf of Wall
Right.
Street,
Yeah.
right? Like, whereas like,
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. So he must. I mean, if he felt like he was getting bullied, and then he kept getting cast as, like, a character who keeps getting bullied,
exactly, that must be
like,
tough.
it must be tough.
Yeah, because like, there's real life and then there's acting, and I could get it if like, if in acting you're feeling bullied, but then like, off stage people are gonna treat you the way they see you being treated. Like I guess, you know.
Yeah.
which kind of
Well,
sucks.
kudos to him.
Kudos to him. If he ever listens to the podcast, he's always welcome. Knows where to reach us.
Jonah Hill, I don't think you're ugly. Okay, Jim could say it, but
Well, I didn't directly say it, but yes, you're in the lower tier. You're at the tier that us normal people are in. I'm sorry.
Okay, as long as we're grouped in, that's fine.
Yeah, we are definitely in that tier.
Yeah.
And speaking of appearances, I saw an interview with Chris Hemsworth, and it was on a website that talked about him and Hugh Jackman. And when Hugh Jackman was cast for Wolverine, if you go back and watch the first X-Men, Hugh Jackman is incredibly thin. And they cast him, and then they said you have 12 weeks to like become buff, and he said, okay, I'll do it. And it turns out that like you just can't become that buff in 12 weeks. It takes years.
Right.
And so over the years, he kind of like worked out, and that's where he finally got to this Wolverine state. But like even then, he's not a big guy. Like they do video angles and stuff to make him look big, but I would say he's like a normal fit person, not even a strong big guy.
Right.
Like guys at my gym look way bigger than him. And
yeah, well, there's a certain type. Sometimes genetics plays a role in it.
Well, so that's exactly it.
It's your diet plays a role. Like they have to have these professional nutritionists and trainers to get like that desired body type, because if you're just working out, you're doing cardio or something like that, you'll never gain bulk like that. Never.
Well, so that's what the article was for Chris Hemsworth. When they interviewed him and they said, are you preparing for Thor 2? What are you doing? And he's like, after Thor 1, he lost 20 pounds. And he's like, now I have to put it all back on. And they said, like, how did you lose so much weight? And he said, my body's not meant to look like it looked in Thor. Like, he was eating every 4 hours. He was like waking up in the middle of the night to eat chicken to make himself look bigger. And like, that's unsustainable for his body type. So he's like, I needed to just like go back to my normal lifestyle, which, he's obviously a very attractive, very fit guy, but he's more like a surfer fit dude. He's not like Thor, who's like a big dude.
Yeah.
And it's just so interesting where you have the flip side, where you have guys like, I was texting you about him, the guy from Parks and Rec.
Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt. Where Chris Pratt was always a big dude. He always had a lot of muscle. And in that scene, I sent you a picture from that scene, he was already pretty jacked. Like, he looked like he had more muscle than Chris Hemsworth already. And, like, you want to put him into a movie, just diet a bit and you're good to go. But, like, he has the frame.
He needed to lose the fat.
But he already had that frame, like the body composition. Yeah. So I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with acting, too. It's like your frame can only support certain things. And I guess Tom Cruise breaks that mold, I guess.
Well, I don't know. Doesn't he play always the same?
Yeah.
I feel like he's always had the same body type.
But Tom Cruise is like 5'8". How tall is Tom Cruise? 5'8"?
I thought he was shorter than that. I thought he was like...
He's 5'7". He's 5'7".
Yeah.
5'7". I mean, I'm not an incredibly tall guy, but I would say 5'8" to 6 feet, I'd say you're a normal guy's height. 5'7", especially for an actor, that's short. Right. And I never noticed him short in any movie.
No, well, they always film in certain angles that he appears taller.
Well, they give him like high heels and stuff. And
yeah.
But imagine like you become that famous and they're like, well, Steve, you know what? We have to have you in this movie, right?
If I become famous, it won't be as an action star. I'll say that. I'd probably be in a comedy, maybe as a villain or something. Like that.
You'll definitely be an action star.
An action star.
Maybe Mall Cop 3. I mean, if Kevin James can be an action star, you could be an action star.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right. So before we get out of here, because I didn't even realize how long we've been chatting here, I guess people just enjoy our soothing voices. Sure. I just wanted to ask straight up then, who's your favorite actor?
Actress?
Guy or girl?
Actress. Dang. I don't think I have any.
You could take
I'll
it
be
back.
honest.
It doesn't have to be. It's not.
What's that?
You could take it back. It's not like this is the end of the world. I'm just asking, like,
No, I legitimately don't think I have a favorite actor because, like I said, I can't even think of movies where. I mean, the only person that came into mind was Robin Williams. Robin Williams is dead, so I don't have a
Oh
favorite
no!
actor. So
All right. So,
he was my favorite actor.
what about favorite actor in most movies you like?
No, don't have one. Like I watch a lot of superhero movies. I watch a lot of comedies. No, don't have one. I'm sorry.
So, if we could have any actor.
What's your favorite actor?
Well, I'm trying to line up a famous actor for this podcast here, and you're not helping.
Like they should come on the show.
Yeah, why not? If you have a favorite, why wouldn't we go for the favorite first?
Yeah. Well, why don't you say your favorite then?
My favorite.
Robert Downey Jr.
No, I think he's a terrible actor.
Okay.
So I'll rephrase that. I think he doesn't act. I think that's who he is, and they just put him in characters that he is.
Yeah.
That's why he
I
plays.
feel like that's how it is for most people.
That's how he play. That's why he plays the same character in every movie. He's like the arrogant know-it-all. I think that's how he acts. I don't know. Now that you asked me, I was waiting for yours, and then I.
Look at this! You're yelling at me. You don't even have.
All right, fine. Let's change the question because this is a hard question.
Okay.
Let's change the question to if we could have any actor on the podcast. So it doesn't have to be the best actor, but an actor who you think personality would be fun. Who would you put?
Right. I think I'd put The Rock.
The Rock?
Yeah, The Rock or.
You don't think The Rock is too mainstream? Like too PC?
PC.
Like
I don't think so.
Like
I've seen like his Instagram, how he messes with Kevin Hart and stuff like that. I think he's just like a fun dude who likes to have fun.
Okay.
So I think he would be fun to have on it. And another probably fun person. Why can't I remember her name? From Pitch Perfect.
Didn't see it. Tina Fey sounds like the girl though.
Definitely not Tina Fey. Let me just look. It's gonna come as soon as I put this in. Anna Kendrick.
Oh, I thought that was the same as Tina Fey. I guess they're different people.
Yeah, they're totally different people.
Don't they look the same?
A little bit, not really.
A little bit. That's like the girl who plays Lois Lane in the new Superman. I thought she was the same actress as another person who looks just like her. Tina Fey. And who is the person you mentioned?
Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick. Dude, they look identical.
No, they don't.
Just type in Tina Fey, Anna Kendrick, and there's like a bunch of pictures where their faces are right next to each other, and you're like, what are they, sisters?
Definitely not.
There's a whole site on like they look related, but they're not. Tina Fey and Anna Kendrick are right there, along with a few other actors and actresses here.
So who would you put?
So I think. Which one did you say? Anna Kendrick? I think Anna Kendrick would be fun. I do follow her on Instagram, actually. And she has some pretty funny things.
Why don't you follow her on Instagram? I don't follow her.
Yeah, she doesn't post that much, but when she does, it's pretty funny. Yeah, like, I think The Rock is just so... Like I said, I think he's just so famous that he might not open up and, like... It'd be like a fake joke.
You know who's trying to break into... YouTube.
Will Smith.
And no.
Okay.
Brie Larson.
Who?
The girl who plays Captain Marvel.
Wasn't
she actually seems pretty cool. Like when I've seen some of her interviews, and she's like a nerd. She loves like Pokemon and stuff like
Oh,
that.
there are
You
a
know.
lot. Yeah, there are a lot of closet nerds. Like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill plays World of Warcraft, and he used to do that every night. And I think there was an article about it where like he got a call back from the director, and he was in a raid, so he didn't pick up. Yeah, he
That's
just
hilarious.
posted on his Instagram. He just bought a new computer and he built it and he posted it.
Oh,
And
I saw that Henry
yeah,
Cavill building.
and the crazy part is like, to us, we're just like, yeah, cool. Like, I think that's cool. Everyone else is like, oh my god, he's a genius too. You're like, well, hold on a second, hold on. I tell you I build a computer and you look at me like I'm a nerd. He builds a computer and he's a genius. And Vin Diesel plays D&D so much that his D&D character is tattooed on his arm.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a
That's
lot of like
interesting.
closet nerd actors. Joseph Gordon-Levitt plays Magic, and there's actually a YouTube video of he brings up his Magic cards. And if you ever wonder, what would you do if you were rich? You'd buy all the rich stuff. And he had like every expensive Magic card. Yeah,
I
so
guess you can.
yeah, you could. No, but he had them also from when we were kids. So he played when he was younger, and he continued to play as he got older. Yeah, like I said, I think someone who would be too fake, I wouldn't want. There are people who I think try to loosen up, like a Ryan Reynolds. I think would potentially be funny, but again, he's so big. I don't know if he could really loosen up without worrying about his image. So
Right.
I'd probably,
The thing with Ryan Reynolds, I'd get worried about. Not necessarily worried about, but I feel like the Ryan Reynolds character is just on all
yes,
the time. That it might get annoying.
yeah, sure. I mean, you and me are known to throw around zingers, but we do it
Right.
here and there. We're not gonna all day.
Yeah, exactly.
We do a few that's what she said jokes, you know. I think I'd probably go down a level in terms of popularity, just to we'd get the real person. So like, um, who's that? Did you see Baywatch?
Yeah, a long time ago. You
So
mean the new Baywatch
the new
or
one,
the,
the new one.
the new one? No, I mean like the old school TV show I used to watch a
There's an
lot.
actor. He just made a new Netflix show. Um, he's like our age. Pretty good looking. Um, he did a Man vs. Wild episode. He's in Neighbors. If you've seen Neighbors, let me look him up.
Oh,
I'm
is
bad
he?
with.
Can I remember? It's a
Yeah.
new Netflix show.
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zac Efron. So like a Zac Efron or like the girl
He's
who he's big, but he's not. I feel like his image isn't as big as some of these other guys. So like he might not be as worried about being himself.
right.
Or like the chick that's in the movie with him with the blue eyes. She's in Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief.
Oh, that's right.
I like her too, where she seems like popular but not too popular, but like down to earth. Like I think that level of popularity would allow us to be real with them and them to like actually tell us the truth. Because like you watch these celebrity interviews and like every question is spun to be like, well, you can't ask me that question because it's not fair. Or it's
Right.
like, how amazing am I? Oh, it's not me that's amazing, it's the crew. You know, it's like really, I don't want to, you know.
That's right. Well, guys, if you heard your name, one of these actors,
That's
you're
true.
interested in coming on the show,
Hmm.
just send us a message on
Send us a
Instagram.
DM.
We'll definitely make it happen.
Hmm.
We,
Unfortunately, we don't pay well here. This is more of a non-profit. The
pro bono.
That's right. The profit is the fun, life
That's right.
experience. As the interns of tomorrow would say, it's life experience is your pay. All right, guys. I think we're getting near time. Sorry for keeping it a little long, but thank you for joining us. Please, if you like us, subscribe to us on the social media platforms. on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, all the podcasts. We're at Creativity Level Zero. If you search us, sometimes it comes up as at Creativity Level Zero, no space. And at Instagram, we are at creativity _level _ the zero sign. And thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.